In a competitive market, the last thing you want to do is go head to head with your competitors because they will eat you alive. The smarter way is to figure out how you can work together and collaborate over compete. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can team up with other investors in your area and how I was able to make $15,000 on one wholesale deal by doing so. Because you can do more deals by collaborating with other people than competing against them and getting none at all. Aloha, my name is Stacey Johnson. I'm a 26-year-old real estate investor, and I was able to turn negative $30,000 on my first flip to over $300,000 investing in real estate last year in 2022 in one of the most competitive markets in America, Honolulu, Hawaii. So first things first, how do you pick a partner and what kind of paperwork do you use? Before you decide to go straight into creating a new LLC, stop right there, hold your horses, and make sure you take things deal by deal. Getting into a partnership by creating a whole new LLC is like creating a new marriage. You want to date this person before you go jumping head first into deciding to join an LLC with them, because if you need a break up, it's going to be like going through a divorce. There's going to be a lot of legal complications that you're going to have to go through an attorney and incur some costs going through that divorce. You can definitely take things deal by deal, do 1, 2, maybe 3 deals together to see how you guys work with each other and who's good at what. Then from there, you can decide if you want to create a whole new entity together. The way that you can just go take things deal by deal is by doing what's called a JV agreement or a joint venture agreement. This just outlines the responsibilities of each person. Each person gets to have their own entity, and you guys decide how you want to split profit from there. Everything that you guys decide is going to be outlined in this JV agreement. That way there's no hiccups. And you want to make sure you even include, if things go south, who is going to pay for what. If you guys run out of money, who's going to pay for what. And just think of every single scenario that might go wrong. You just never know what's going to happen, and you want to be prepared for it. Now, how do you even pick a partner? When you go into a partnership, you always want to pick somebody with the opposite skill set as you. It makes absolutely no sense to go into a partnership with somebody with the same skill set as you. For this video, I'm going to talk about how me and my friend Warren went into a deal together with complete opposite skill sets to succeed in this competitive market. For the last 2 years, we've been going head to head in this competitive market, and we decided to collaborate now once we realized that his skill set and my skill set were the complete opposite. So if we put those two together, we would be like a machine just doing deals in Hawaii. So Warren and I both started investing 2 years ago, and we were going head to head on certain deals. Sometimes, especially on the MLS, we knew that we were both making offers on the same exact property. We both joined the Wealthy Investor Program at the same time, and so the exact same resources that we had, we implemented them here in Hawaii. We were both using the same exact cold calling system where we were calling hundreds and thousands of leads every single day to find deals in Hawaii. By the way, if you're looking for off-market deals and you want to know this exact cold calling system of how we find deals in Hawaii, I created a free guide that you can download in the link in the description below. I also go over the step-by-step in this absolutely for free every single month, and you can join in on my webinars by signing up to get the guide at the link in the description below. So going back to this cold calling system, we called hundreds and thousands of people, and whenever somebody was looking to sell, we qualified or disqualified them and then would go on this appointment to close the deal. Doing this for 2 years, I realized that I absolutely hated following up with sellers. It is not my skill set. I hate just talking to cold people. Even talking to warm people, I'm not so fond of. I realized that through this process, I absolutely love going on appointments and closing deals and talking to hot sellers, figuring out what their situation is, what kind of problems they had, and how we could solve them. For Warren, he found out that when he would go on these appointments, these sellers didn't even want to sell. He was finding himself running in circles because he wasn't able to close these deals or figure out how to qualify them before even going on this property appointment. But the thing that Warren was really good at was underwriting deals and figuring out what he could offer for these properties. The problem is even if you know what you can offer, if you can't even close the deal, you're not going to get the deal. So we decided that he could pay for the follow-up and underwrite the deals, and then I could go on these appointments and close them. So starting February of 2023, we decided to go and collaborate with each other. He followed up with the leads that I had on top of generating generating new leads, followed up with them, and handed them to my team so that we could go on the appointment and close them. After just 1 month of implementing this system, we were able to close a deal on the Big Island. His team set me up on a phone call with the owner, figured out what our max allowable offer is. Before you go on an appointment with a seller that's hot and ready to sell, you have to know what your max allowable offer is. And you can determine that by finding your after repair value and calculating the numbers from there. If you need to know how to run the numbers on that, stay to the end of this video. That video is going to be playing next. It's called How to Determine Your ARV, or your after repair value. So anyway, going back to the deal, the seller used to live on the Big Island and he bought the lot right next to where he was living. The seller moved away from the Big Island over 5 years ago. He was living in Illinois at the time when I called him, and he was just tired of having to deal with this lot of land that he knew that he was never going to go see again. He had already sold his house that he was living at, and now it was just time to sell this lot of land. I knew that he wanted $20,000, but when I had called him, he said, I'm looking to get somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000. I ended up making an offer for $15,000, but told him that I couldn't buy it myself. I needed to go find him an end buyer, but he didn't have to worry about any commissions. It would be as convenient as a cash sale. He wouldn't have to pay me a dime. The end buyer is going to be the one to pay me, but I just want to promise him that he's going to be able to get his $15,000 and not come out of pocket for any closing costs, escrow, inspections, none of that, no commissions. It's going to be an easy sale that he could just take his money and walk away with it. I knew that I could find an end buyer for $30,000. So that meant that we were going to make a wholesale fee of the difference. If you take $30,000 minus $15,000, you get $15,000. And that was going to be our wholesale fee that Warren and I were going to split. I got on the phone with the seller and locked this property under contract for $15,000. Now it was time to go to work to find that end buyer. I reached out to every single buyer who was buying land on the Big Island on my buyers list. On top of that, listed the property on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, put an ad on it so that it could get blasted out to as many people as possible. This is key when it comes to wholesaling real estate. You need to get this piece of property that you have under contract to as many eyes as possible. Your buyer that typically buys all your deals may or may not want this specific property, so you have to have this whole list of people to sell it to just in case. I was in luck though, because the buyer that I usually sell Big Island lots to was interested in this property, and he ended up buying it for $30,000. If he went on the market to buy this property, he would have probably had to pay $35,000 to $40,000. So he was more than happy to pay me $30,000, even though he knew that we were going to make $15,000 on the wholesale. 2 weeks after we assigned this to the end buyer, he ended up closing on this property, and he is going to develop a ground up construction 4-bedroom 2-bath house and sell it to a local family in the Big Island for an affordable price. Warren and I would have made $0 if we decided to just compete against each other, because I would have never followed up with that lead enough to actually close a deal. And if Warren was following up with that lead, he wouldn't have been able to close it, and we would have both ended up with $0. But instead, we were able to make $15,000, and splitting that, we made $7,500 each in 30 days. Warren and I both come from an engineering background, and that's just about how much we would make in 1 month working a full-time job, 40 hours a week, 4 weeks at least in a month. That's over 160 hours for that amount of money, but we were able to make that in just a couple hours of work through wholesaling real estate. So before you decide to be greedy and think everyone is out to steal your deals, think about it. Sometimes it's better to collaborate over compete with your competitors so that you guys can create win-win scenarios for both of you. Hope that helped. See you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Shoots!